Jacko sponsors the National League on BT Sport.
Hello everybody, welcome along to our latest roundup from the Vanarama National League. Half an hour in which we'll endeavour to bring you all the key incidents from the latest matches in English football's fifth tier. This weekend we've been at Hayes Lane, home of Bromley. The part-timers from the South East London Kent border have been one of the surprise packages so far this season. They were up against Altrincham, who last weekend made the headlines beating Barnsley in the FA Cup, but are struggling in the league. Plenty more of that game to come, and loads more besides. 9 goals at the Shea and a cheeky hat-trick for Braintree. Forest Green hit back to beat promotion rivals Dover. And 3 quick-fire goals keep Cheltenham on top. Before play began on Saturday, a minute's silence was observed at non-league grounds across the country as a mark of respect to those who lost their lives in the Paris terrorist attacks. National League players, supporters and officials wanted to show solidarity with the people of France and express their support for the families of the victims. Just the 48 goals to show you in this week's programme, so we'd better get cracking. We start with an incredible day at the Shea. Bottom of the table, Halifax have by far the worst defensive record in the division, so visitors Braintree would have expected more than a few sights of goal. And sure enough, the deadlock was broken after just 4 minutes. Was that a cross? Was it a shot by Braintree's Alex Woodyard? It found the back of the net either way. However, the hosts fought back instantly. Just 60 seconds later, in fact, Scott McManus dinked a cross into the Braintree box, and top scorer Jordan Barrow turned the ball in. 12 goals this season, a tremendous return in a side battling against the drop. The 2 fixtures between these sides last season yielded just 1 goal, but chances were coming thick and fast. Halifax left short at the back, and Michael Cheek was on hand to put Braintree back in front. Darren Kelly's side had won just 3 of their last 34 matches heading into the game, and you could see why. Nat Brown's back pass left goalkeeper Matt Glennon stranded, Cheek able to convert and give the away side a 2-goal advantage. And they had the chance to make it 4-1 before the half-hour mark. Brown again culpable, as he was the man that fouled Sammy Schmodix inside the area. Penalty to Braintree. Captain Kenny Davis made no mistake from the spot, and it was already looking like a case of how many for Braintree. But manager Danny Crowley described this as a basketball match, and with the game still wide open, Kingsley James found Sean Tooton, who reduced the arrears for Halifax. And an incredible 45 minutes was brought to a close with Tooton's second for the home side to bring the deficit down to 1. 4-3 to Braintree at half-time, just in case you've lost count. Halifax's hopes of completing their comeback were dashed after the interval. Michael Cheek taking his tally to 8 goals this campaign, completing his hat-trick with the best strike of the lot. The scoring was complete before the hour. Hospitality again from Halifax, allowing Schmodix to make it 6 of the best for Braintree with a sumptuous chip. Halifax have conceded 28 goals in Kelly's 7 matches in charge. This one will live long in the memory.
We were really disappointed that we got caught up in an open and expansive game, and we as a result of that had very little control of the game in the first half. We got in at half time, and credit to the players. For the second half we were much more like ourselves, defended from the front better, managed to make their play a little bit more predictable and slow their play down. And as a result, we got a foothold in the game, and I thought we looked a good team in the second half.
Forest Green were only a point off the top going into this one, even though they'd won just 3 of their last 11 games. Their electric early season form has kept them in contention, and Adi Pennock's side pushed for an early breakthrough against third place Dover. Curtis Guthrie's header hitting a defender when maybe it should have hit the back of the net. It was an impressive start from the hosts, Darren Carter fancying his chances from long range, goalkeeper Andy Rafferty proving up to the challenge. But 7 minutes before the break, Dover were in front. A delicious free kick from Nicky Deverdix, sending the travelling support at the New Lawn wild. Deverdix, 7th of the season, giving his side a half-time lead. So a chance for Rovers to show their title credentials. Elliot Frere's corner tucked away by defender James Jennings for the equaliser. Forest Green were victorious at League Two AFC Wimbledon in the FA Cup last weekend, and the confidence was starting to show. Carter turning the game on its head, finding the bottom corner of Rafferty's goal. 2-1 to the hosts. Chris Kinnear's men were beaten by Eastleigh in midweek but hadn't lost back-to-back matches all season. This composed effort by Stephen Payne tipped over by goalkeeper Steve Arnold. But momentum and the weather was on Forest Green's side. Frere's corner caught in a gale and totally bemusing Rafferty. Frere credited with the goal. Rovers 3-1 to the good. The conditions had become a real factor in Gloucestershire. Guthrie down the right, looping the ball over Lafferty against the crossbar. Frere somehow put the rebound wide. And Dover's last hopes of a comeback were extinguished in the driving rain. This goalmouth scramble eventually finding Jack Parkinson, whose effort was deflected onto the bar. Forest Green keep up the pressure on league leaders Cheltenham.
Gary Johnson's men, who went top after the midweek fixtures, travelled to Merseyside to take on the lowest scorers in the league. So it was always likely the visitors would strike first. Harry Pell's free kick, driven unerringly past keeper Max Crocombe to give Cheltenham a 4th-minute lead, and his 4th goal of the campaign. And the advantage was doubled just 4 minutes later. The Southport backline failing to get anywhere near close enough to Billy Waters, the 21-year-old keeping his cool to make it 2-0. Cheltenham were racing away with this game and it looked all over after just 15 minutes. A swift counter-attack saw Waters break clear. A fabulous tackle by Adam Blakeman, but the ball eventually ran back to Waters, who scored his 2nd of the match. 9 goals this season for Cheltenham's top scorer. Victory was sealed shortly after half-time. Danny Parslow has been playing for a decade. His 2nd goal of the season makes this his best ever goal-scoring campaign. Mind you, he is a defender. A goal might have proved some sort of consolation for shot-shy Southport, but if anything summed up the fading fortunes of Paul Carden's side right now, it would be Mike Phoenix's failure to find the target. A great day for Cheltenham and for their manager, who has a top-of-the-table clash in his sights.
Scoring that early goal, a couple of early goals, gave us the impetus, if you like, and we see the game out. So I was very proud of the lads. Top of the league still, which is good. But we know we've got a chasing pack that are desperate to try and catch us, and there's some good teams that have all won today as well. So we'll keep our feet on the ground, look forward to the Forest Green game on Saturday.
The first ever meeting of Guiseley and Eastleigh promised goals. The home side were beaten 5-0 at Cheltenham in midweek. The visitors hadn't kept a clean sheet in the National League for 14 matches. And it wasn't long before Eastleigh broke the deadlock. Fullback Michael Green surging down the left. His cross picking out midfielder Andy Drury, who volleyed past Stephen Drench with a quarter of the game gone. Chris Todd's side were firmly in command after 30 minutes. Lee Cook's set piece headed home by former Wales under-21 defender Joe Partington. Guiseley's defeat at Cheltenham was their heaviest in over 4 years, so a response from Mark Bauer's men was crucial. Danny Boschel's slide rule pass saw Adam Boyes break the offside trap and bring the hosts back into the game. But inside the last 20 minutes, Eastleigh restored their 2-goal advantage at a damp and soggy Nethermoor Park. Drury turning one way, then the other, before firing in his 2nd of the game, doubling his tally for the season to 4. And there was just enough time left for Todd's side to put some gloss on the scoreline. Guiseley's Gavin Rothery was robbed of possession. Ross Lafayette crossing for Joy Reason to make it 4-1 and 7 wins in the last 8 matches for Eastleigh.
They put in a performance that was top draw, to be fair, a away performance. And as I said, we're really starting to stray forward now as a club, and And as a squad, you know, I've got sort of players now in my team that are capable of playing in my starting 11, and there's people on the bench sitting there, and they're good players. So, you know, I'm in a happy place at the minute.
Grimsby Town were looking to keep pace with the chasing pack of promotion hopefuls. They faced Welling United, who were looking over their shoulders towards the bottom four. But the visitors drew blood first. Teenage midfielder Sam Corn is reportedly on the radar of Chelsea. He arrived right on cue to steer in Ben Jefford's cross. That's Corn's third of the campaign. Paul Hurst's side found an immediate equaliser in fortuitous circumstances. Padraig Amand with one of the worst shots of the day, which turned into one of the best passes, as Nathan Arnold volleyed Grimsby level. Nothing so lucky about the goal that put the home side in front, though. Welling keeper Tom King was expecting a cross. Connor Townsend on loan from Hull with a moment of genius for Grimsby. 2-1 with just 12 minutes played. Another inspired set piece before half-time saw a man's effort cleared off the line by Barney Williams. And dead balls were proving difficult for Louis Fazakerly's side to deal with. Alex Jones unable to mark his full debut with a goal. 2-1 at half-time. King became the busiest man in Cleethorpes after the interval. First, his palms were stung by this powerful strike by right-back Richard Tate. Then substitute Jack McGrath's cross-come-shot was turned away smartly by that man King. It didn't look like a man's day in front of goal. A free header kept out by King again. Welling had won just one of their previous 6, but were somehow still in the game. Substitute Harry Osborne with a heroic goal-saving block. Grimsby had to wait until deep into stoppage time before the 3 points were finally safe, as Welling pushed for an equaliser. Amand again directing the ball goalwards. Was it a shot? Was it a cross? McGrath duly obliged with his first league goal of the season. Just one defeat in 14 for Grimsby, just one win in 7 for Welling.
After 66 previous meetings, Lincoln and Tranmere were deadlocked on 24 wins each as they took to the field at Sincil Bank. But Rovers haven't tasted victory at Lincoln since 1967, and that will have to go on. Luke Waterfall began his career as a Tranmere player. This was the defender's first goal of the season, and it was good enough for all 3 points.
You're watching our latest roundup from the Vanarama National League. Plenty more still to come in a few minutes' time. You're watching our latest roundup from English football's 5th tier, the Vanarama National League. Let's get straight back to the action. FA Cup giant killers Altrincham without a league win in 6 games were the visitors to high-flying Bromley on a soggy Saturday lunchtime at Hayes Lane. Commentary from Adam Virgo and Peter Drury.
Griffin has time to measure his cross. Surely repels it. Crowther rode up against his arm, referee let it go, and Altrincham got the lead, and it's that man again. You just cannot stop Damien Reeves right now. Goal after goal. But what about this? It rode up against the arm of Crowther.
Yeah, it certainly did hurt. He hit his hand. I'm surprised Bromley didn't make more of an effort with the handball. Well, that's a wonderful head up.
Anderson. Charged down by Dennis. Emmanuel. Holland. Moses Emmanuel. What a save. Swain is still forward and Griffin tidies up. Outstanding from Tim Deasy. Against the hottest striking property in the league. He stood tall and kept him out. Minshall. Dennis after it. Sinner's a little uncomfortable. Holland. Moses Emmanuel. Deflection. In. Goal given. It's squirted up off Scott Leather. Tim Deasy isn't certain it's crossed the line. But Christopher Kidd with the flag on the far side was. And Moses Emmanuel has his 16th goal of the season.
It's a horrible deflection of Scott Leather. It's a Good foot over the line. I can't see White. Tim Deasy has any complaints of White. That's not a goal.
Dennis again, Holland's header. Minshall against Holland, goal kick. Great reaction from Deasy that time.
It's a great save. You just see Emmanuel Thomas on him, so he's just pulled off him. And it's a wonderful save, it really is.
It's broken kindly, and here is Bowman, who slithered at the moment of greatest potential for Saini. Cook got into trouble, and it's snatched in by Josh O'Keefe. Opportunist hit, instinctive and instant, and Altrincham have their lead back less than 5 minutes into the second half.
Goal scorer for Altrincham in the 15th minute, number 14, Josh O'Keefe.
Sinnott has gone outside of Richmond. It's Sinnott's cross. Udogie uncomfortable, 3-1. The flag has stayed down, and Reeves was Johnny on the spot again. Calamitous moment for Emmanuel Udogie. Reeves, the ultimate opportunist.
Well, again, it's another mistake, a poor mistake from Udogie.
Damien, what a week you have had personally, let alone the team.
It has, yeah. It's been a good week. Can't lie. You know, 2 games on the telly, 3 goals, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Tim, you've had a worldie today, mate, but you'll be beating yourself up over the one that crept over your head and went in, are you?
You know what, it's funny, I think that's the 4th goal we've conceded like that this year, you know, looping over the top from a deflection. Yeah, it was unlucky, I want to see the replay, I don't believe it was over the line, but, you know, you've got to give them it. But it's a great win, you know, 2 good goals by Reeves, and, yeah, great win for Altrincham.
Wrexham came into this one looking for their 3rd straight league victory. Gateshead had been winless in 5, but ended that run with a midweek away success at Boreham Wood. The visitors were reduced to 10 men just before half-time when a reckless challenge from Paddy McLaughlin earned him a 2nd yellow. The loss of McLaughlin would prove too much for Gateshead. 10 minutes after the break, a well-placed through ball and a cross from Connor Jennings found the head of Robbie Evans, who buried his 2nd goal of the campaign. 10 minutes later, Blaine Hudson chested down a corner and doubled Wrexham's lead. Dominic Vos then went on to beat not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 Gateshead players before applying the finishing touch. This goal was quoted as being the best in the club's 151-year history on the Wrexham website. Best of all time? Well, it certainly wasn't bad. The onslaught continued, and it wasn't long before Vos struck again, finding his 9th of the season and leaving no doubt as to which team were taking home the 3 points.
Woking's season has gone from the sublime to the ridiculous. They ended Forest Green's record-breaking run of 9 consecutive wins, but were also the first team to lose to Kidderminster. They came into this one with only 1 win in their last 10 games, and their misery continued as a poor-headed clearance from Brian Czar allowed Danny Whitehead to fire Macclesfield ahead with his 4th goal of the season. Woking keeper Jake Cole was then caught out by a 25-yarder from Christian Dennis, who doubled the visitors' lead in the 26th minute. There was to be no relief in the second half for the home team, whose troubled defence allowed this free kick to fall for Neil Byrne. He took full advantage to score his 2nd league goal of the season, both of which have come against Woking. It was 4-0 after the hour. Poor defending from Terrell Thomas allowed Dennis to pounce on a through ball and score his 2nd of the game. To their credit, Woking didn't give up, and after his initial shot was blocked by goalkeeper Juan Jalal, Dan Holman buried his 2nd attempt to reduce the arrears. However, Dennis made sure he would be going home with the match ball after this fantastic effort completed his hat-trick. His league tally for the season is now 14-2 behind Bromley's Moses Emmanuel. A mistake from Jalal allowed Joey Jones to score Woking's 2nd, but by then it was nothing more than a consolation. Macclesfield are up to 10th, but Woking, one-time promotion contenders, are down to 17th.
It took Kidderminster 19 games to register their first win of the season, the worst start in the club's history. In a goalless first half, Kidderminster created some good chances. Zane Francis and goal provided a brilliant ball into the area, but Jordan Murphy wasn't able to convert. The deadlock was broken 8 minutes into the second half after some great control by Murphy allowed former Walsall winger James McQuilkin to score on his debut, having signed for the Harriers earlier in the week. 7 minutes later, Bournemouth loanee Ben Whitfield doubled the home side's advantage with this well-taken goal, his second of the campaign. Aldershot had a great chance to pull one back from this Charlie Walker free kick, but keeper Dean Snedker was equal to it. Their second win in 3 games means Kidderminster are now 6 points away from escaping the drop zone, but face tough away games at Braintree and Grimsby next.
Barrow manager Darren Edmondson has been given until the end of the month to turn things around by the club's owner Paul Casson. 3 straight league defeats had hardly improved his prospects, so a good result against relegation candidates Torquay was imperative. And he got off to the best possible start after 9 minutes, when a cross from Andy Horwath found Sheffield United loanee Otis Khan, and he rifled his half volley into the back of the net. Torquay then responded with this powerful shot from Akil Campion, which went narrowly over the crossbar. But it was Khan who struck again 4 minutes before half-time with his 3rd goal in 2 games since arriving at Holker Street. Torquay were reduced to 10 men after the break when Barrow's Jason Walker was brought down by Nathan Smith. He was the last man, and the referee showed no hesitation in brandishing a red card. It wasn't long before Barrow made the extra man tell, Walker capitalising when the ball rebounded off goalkeeper Dan Leverkusen's gloves. And 3-0 became 4 in injury time when this brilliant shot from Dan Pilkington rattled the post and Horwath pounced on the rebound. Edmondson's first win in 5, and his team record their biggest National League victory since August 2011.
Boreham Wood were looking to widen the points gap between themselves and the bottom 4 against mid-table Chester. Callum Dyson had a great opportunity to score for the visitors, but his effort was brilliantly blocked by Scott Doe before being smashed wide by James Roberts. In the second half, a John Rooney corner nearly found the back of the net, but Danny Woodards was on hand to clear the threat. Just before the end, goalkeeper John Worsnop nearly gifted the home side 3 points after fumbling this shot from Junior Moraes, but it finished 0-0. With 48 goals elsewhere, we're not complaining.
So, did you manage to keep count? Goals galore and a great day of National League football, with Cheltenham preserving their 1-point advantage over Forest Green. The top 2 meet at Whaddon Road next Saturday in what could be one of the games of the season. Eastleigh's excellent form under new manager Chris Todd has lifted them up to 3rd, and Braintree are back in the playoff places after hitting 6 of the best at Halifax. Altrincham's victory at Bromley has moved them 7 points clear of the relegation zone, and there's no change in the bottom 4, even though Kidderminster pulled off only their 2nd win of the season. Halifax, who've now conceded 53 league goals, are 10 points adrift of safety, and it's already hard to see any way back for Darren Kelly's team. That's just about it for this week's National League Highlight Show, but don't forget to join us on Saturday, November the 28th, as we bring you Eastleigh against Southport, exclusively live on BT Sport 1 from midday. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Jacko sponsors the National League on BT Sport.